Hi, everyone. Today I'm here with Lauren Esposito, a junior goalkeeper. Lauren's freshman year, she tallied 131 saves, 17 starts, and earned all GLIAC honorable mention. But following her freshman year, she faced an unexpected challenge off the field. She underwent brain surgery, but by her sophomore year, she came back and was already playing again in the GLIAC. Lauren, can you tell me when you first noticed something was wrong?
Yeah, so I have a condition called Chiari malformation. It is a brain disorder where your part of your cerebellum, which is the bottommost part of your brain pretty much, slips into your spinal cord. And I was diagnosed in second grade accidentally. So when I was younger, I got really sick, just like a common cold that got worse, ended up having a brain MRI. And it was an accidental finding, which is pretty common for most Chiari cases. Usually people either don't go diagnosed or don't find it till later in life just due to the rarity of it. But I was diagnosed second grade, had no symptoms, got assigned a neurologist. They basically said, hey, if she's fine, don't worry about it. She can live the rest of her life completely normal. If she has issues, obviously, come back, we'll handle it. I would say probably until about 8th grade, I didn't really have many issues. I had like a little bit of headaches, but like it's hard to say, especially as a growing girl, like around 13, 14, there could be many different reasons that any girl would have like headaches and other stuff like that just from like hormonal fluctuation and stuff. But as I got more into high school, more like sophomore, junior year, it was becoming more of an issue outside of just I'm tired, my head's like pounding. It was any kind of like exertion. So laughing, coughing, yelling, screaming, anything that like exerts yourself would cause me like an immense amount of pain to the point where like I had to physically stop. Like I couldn't really concerts were horrible. I couldn't enjoy being around with my friends. Like things that like you don't think about on the daily basis, or like coughing. Like I have horrible allergies. I would dread allergy season because of how much pain it would cause me just because having to sneeze and cough all the time. And it's just like, it's weird because you'd think like, oh, it's just like, yeah, everyone gets headaches. And honestly, that's probably why it goes misdiagnosed so much, because it's just like people, they tell you like, oh, you just have chronic migraines. Oh, you just like, how many concussions have you had in your life? But it's like the whole thing of like, when you exert yourself, your brain like kind of swells. And the whole thing with Chiari is, since my cerebellum is blocking the fluid getting through to my brain through my spinal cord, that there's nothing to like balance that pressure. And so it's kind of like what the doctors would explain to me when I was younger is like, you take a box and you try and inflate a balloon in it. And at some point, it doesn't really fit in the box, but you can keep blowing it up and it just gets like more pressurized. And that's pretty much what happens in my head. But then in my freshman year of college, I did pretty much every pain management like thing that we could find, any kind of like herbal medicine, anything that would try. The only thing that really worked for me was dry needling. So I would go and get dry needling like twice a week, all like 20 needles in my head. It's the only thing that could like physically decrease the pressure. Did that my whole freshman year, got to game season. And at first it was just like, well, like maybe they're just like getting used to like college. Like obviously that's a big change. Like college athletics is 25 hours a week. Like it's a lot on your body. So, but then over Christmas break, my freshman year, it really wasn't getting any better. And obviously I wasn't doing as much activity at home. And I sat down with my parents and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like my goal was that I probably was going to need surgery eventually in my life, but hey, let's get through college athletics. And then like you can get the surgery, you can chill. Like you'll be good to go. But I sat them down and I was pretty much like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. Like I don't think I can enjoy myself right now in the sport I'm in. And that was the biggest thing for me, is if I'm not enjoying lacrosse, then why would I do it? Why would I do it? So then game season comes around, intensity ramps right back up. We're back to 25 hours a week. And I mean, games is like the most exertion I could physically do. I pretty much just stand there and scream for 2 hours straight. And it was like majority of the season I would end the games in tears. Mm-hmm. Like I couldn't enjoy it was no fun to be at the games. I didn't enjoy playing. I was distracted. I wasn't focused on my game. I was mostly just focused on like, how fast can this be done? Like I'm like in too much pain for this. So then I would say probably mid-March, maybe early April, I had talked to my parents like pretty seriously, and I was like, you can see it on my face, like, you know, like I can't, this is getting too far. This is like affecting my quality of life now. Like this goes past sports. So sat them down and they were like, if this is something you want to do, like we'll support you 100%. you do what you need to do. But obviously there was a lot of things in my mind, like, oh my gosh, I'm finally, like, I'm coming to college athletics, I'm playing, like, what if I step away now, like, is my spot gone? Like, will I ever be this? Like, that's a pretty intense surgery to commit to. Like, will I ever be able to come back from that? There's no guarantee it works. Like, it was just, like, a list of things, but my parents were pretty much like, you can't live like this. Like, as much as you want to get through college athletics, like, this goes farther than lacrosse at this point. Like, this is just your quality of life as a human. So made the decision with them. We were like, hey, we probably have to do this. Sat my coaches down. I think I probably scared LeMay and Quinn quite a bit. Sat them down and was like, hey, I'm going to do it. And they were 100% supportive. They were, I think, a little more scared than I was. The looks on their faces were pretty priceless, but they were super supportive. And then May 20th, surgery number 1. July 8th, surgery number 2. And, yeah, that's pretty much how we got to here.
Was there a time either before surgery or, like, following surgery that you were like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to play lacrosse again?
I mean, so first surgery didn't work. So I woke up feeling amazing. I was like, wow, I feel great. Like, I'm not even that much pain. Probably the drugs talking, but I was like, wow, like, I feel great. Like, this isn't going to be that hard. I can walk fine. Everything was great. Then it was because it didn't work. So second surgery came around. I came out of the operating room. My parents walked in, and I was just miserable. I couldn't. I was in so much pain. I literally was more nauseous than I've ever been in my entire life. And it's just like I don't even have anything to compare it to, because it was just like a feeling that I've never experienced before. And it was just kind of like, oh my gosh, like, this is going to be rough. And the second surgery I knew I had to go back to school in a month. And I was like, how the heck am I going to go back to school like this? Like, this is horrible. I pretty much couldn't walk. I was pretty bedridden for at least the first 3 weeks. I was so nauseous, I couldn't really keep food down. I lost a ton of weight. I lost a ton of muscle. I pretty much couldn't walk normal until, like, maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks before we went back to school. But eventually got a little bit of strength back, made it back. And then I felt pretty good in the fall. I felt like, okay, I mean, I'm slowly progressing. Like, this is going to be a process, but, like, I'll get there. I think the hardest thing for me was the first game back. I had to take a shot in 6 months, which you'd think it's, like, muscle memory comes back. But, I mean, it's still, like, you got to get back into, like, the swing of things. My first game was, I don't even remember. It was early on in the season, but it was against a team we were, like, beating by 20. Like, no reason to be stressed. I don't think I had a single save. Genuinely don't think I had a single save. And then we went and played Quincy the weekend after. It was for our spring break trip. And my coaches told me, they're like, you're going to play at halftime. Like, that's, like, this will be, like, your first big game. It was 40 degrees. It was pouring down rain. We were freezing. I get put in a half. I got 3 goals scored on me, and I got pulled 8 minutes later. So I would say that night was the most, like, I was in my own head. My confidence was questioned. I was questioning my own ability. It was the most, like, was the surgery worth it kind of thing. And my parents kind of had, like, a realization with me. They're like, you haven't played in 6 months. You're going to be your hardest critic. You're not going to play perfect. Even at your best health, you weren't going to play perfect. You have to give yourself a little grace. You know this surgery this wasn't an option. You had to do it. You cannot, like, have regrets about it now. And, I mean, by the end of the season, I definitely think that, like, I could see that more clearly. But when you're in that moment, all you can see is, like, all the worst case scenario. Like, I'm never going to be the same. I'm never going to be back where I was. Why did I do this? Like, was it really worth it? It's just, like, all those thoughts that go through your head. But by the end, I think I definitely got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm at a better place. And then having the whole summer before this year, plus the whole fall now, I feel like I'm finally, like, back in a rhythm, back. Like, I got my consistency back. I have my confidence back, which is something that, like, it makes now seeing the surgery be like, yeah, that was the best decision I could have made. Like, but in that moment, like, it's really hard to see that. And it's really frustrating as an athlete because, I mean, recovery is always such a roller coaster. There's highs, there's lows, but in that moment it was probably the lowest for sure.
So during that difficult time, how did your teammates, how did your coaches show up for you, and how did they keep you going?
I try to hide my emotions, but I mean, they could definitely tell I was upset. They knew I wasn't where I wanted to be. And I think that, I mean, that's hard for them to watch because that's not something they can coach. They know what I'm capable of. But their job in that moment was just to support me. They sat me down the next morning after that game, and they were like, we set you up for failure. You had been standing for an hour in the freezing cold. Like, that wasn't it was a tied game. That wasn't the time to put you in, which probably was them just trying to make me feel better. But in the moment, I needed to hear that. And they were very much like, hey, you've been playing for a month. Like, you got to give yourself some time. Just because you're not starting right now, you're not at the place you want to be. We can tell you're not feeling your greatest. Like, we can see it on your face. Like, just give yourself some time and try not to, like, hold too much on. But other than that, my teammates, I mean, they're the best support system I could ever ask for. I don't think they ever think I play bad. Like, I don't think they've ever said anything negative to me about my play. I'm always the one that's like, oh, that was my best game. And they're like, we thought you looked fine. But, I mean, they had my back every single time. I mean, every time you get pulled as a goalie, it's like not the best feeling ever. You know, it's like, I mean, it's pretty public. Everyone just watches you run across. But, I mean, they're always there, like, tapping your back. And honestly, within, like, our group of goalies we all have a really good support system with one another. And, like, we have the understanding that even though we're all playing for the same position, none of us are in competition with one another. That's not our job. That is our coach's job. She makes that decision, so why would we let that affect any of us? So it was 3 of us last year, 4 of us this year. We have a really good support system within one another because sometimes, like, we have, like, LeMay is our defensive coach and Quinn's our offensive coach, and that's pretty much what they're focused on majority of the game. That sometimes there isn't someone to be like, hey, like, keep your head up, you're doing good for the goalies. And so having that within one another honestly made it really helpful. I had Zoe who would always have my back, and she knew, like, when I needed picked up a little bit. I mean, I do the same for her. And just having that, it's like having, like, a personal little community that just, like, you know that they're going to be there to back you no matter what.
Mm-hmm. Did your perspective on the game change at all coming back from this, or did you find yourself having a newfound appreciation for the game?
I think I've always valued my sport as, like, a personal thing almost. And I think it's very common for a lot of athletes to take their, like, athletic success and value their self based off of it. So I think when you finally get pulled away from it, you realize that there is a lot more to, like, who you are as a person, what I have, like, for the rest of my life. Like, there is a person outside of the athlete. And I think being able to step back and really, like, I mean, I spent 6 months with just myself pretty much, but you just really learn. I feel like I learned a lot about me. I learned a lot about how much I really do love the sport. Being stepped away from it, you're like, all I want is to, like, I will do anything in my power right now to get it back. I think it motivated me a lot more to, like, because college athletics is a lot. You can get pretty burnt out pretty fast. And I think once you get that taken away from you, you realize how special it is and how lucky you are to have something so special as that, and how much of an honor it is to play at this level, that I think I have a lot more respect, and I honestly probably love the sport more now than I did before, which isn't really something I expected to come out of surgery.
How did this experience affect how you might approach future conflicts? Like, do you think you go into future conflicts a lot stronger than you would have before because you've dealt with something so difficult?
I would say in regards to, like, future conflicts, I feel like even just, like, working with other people, I kind of just, you never know what someone's gone through. You never truly know someone's story until they've shared it with you. So I feel like just going into any, like, situation with any group of people, just, like, super open-minded and just, like, giving everyone, like, patience and grace. And I feel like I'm not the most patient person, but being able to, like, be patient with other people. And sometimes because people, they learn at different levels, sometimes, like, you never know if this is someone's first day or if they've been here for years. So just, like, always being a kind, patient person would probably be how I would approach future things.
What did it mean for you to step back onto the field in your sophomore year?
Honestly, I wasn't expecting it. I was told that recovery was probably going to be at least 9 months long, and that was if I was lucky. I didn't start running until January. That's when I got cleared to run. I didn't take shots until probably the last week of January, and we played the second week of February. I and Zoe had already, like, she was playing great. She was ready to go. I knew that this was her time to shine. So I knew in the back of my head this I wasn't going to start. I probably wasn't going to play that much. So not to say I had low expectations because I wanted to play so badly, but I knew that it wasn't going to be me that my team was going to rely on first. I ended up playing probably maybe 3 games worth of minutes through 3/4 of the season. So a pretty significant difference than my freshman year.
Said you played in 15 games and started in 5, even after undergoing brain surgery. So that's
wow.
something
Okay,
to be proud of.
Maybe I played it more than I thought. But I mean, I was playing 1 quarter. I was playing the last 20 minutes. But I think by the time I got to GLIACs, well, the weekend before GLIACs, we played CSP. And I played 3/4 of that game. And had, like, one of the best games I've had ever. Mm-hmm. I had, like, a 75% save percentage, which is pretty dang good for college lacrosse. And then the weekend after was GLIACs, and that was the first time I started. So I hadn't started a game since the following year, and then I'm starting the GLIAC playoffs. So I think that weekend was a good, like, hey, you can do this again kind of moment. And it was definitely a confidence builder. It was just, it was one of those things like I'm like, I needed that. Mm-hmm. I needed this weekend. And it really helped lead into this, like, past fall and now into this season.
What advice would you give to the younger players who are either facing challenges or setbacks in their careers right now?
Honestly, the main thing is just lean on people. It's pretty easy to hold things in and think that you can manage them all yourself. But truly having there's people that care about you and will support you through pretty much anything, that even though it's sometimes hard to reach out, once you break that barrier, it literally feels like a weight lifted off your shoulders, and it makes the process so much easier. And you shouldn't feel like a burden. You shouldn't feel like you're taking it, like you're wasting other people's energy, like they could be doing other things. No. At some point, like, that's why you have people that care about and love you. Like, they are there to help you. Let them help you, which I think was something that I had to tell myself. But I think that would probably be my number one thing I would tell them.
Awesome. Any final remarks?
I don't think so. I think that's pretty much it.
You excited for the season?
I'm so excited. 1 more week.